Good morning, all my watercolor friends. Thank you for being with me for another Wednesday Live. I so appreciate you being here. I am watching my iPad so I can see when your comments come in, so please say hello to me. I'm going to do something a little different now. I'm going to, we've had a lot of people asking about our list, for our tutorial so that you can follow along. And now that I'm done with the new release, I do kind of know ahead of time what I'm going to be doing, but I still do change. So what I'm going to do before I actually start is I'm going to show you what I'm using. So if you want to follow along with me, you can pull these sets out and have them ready to go. And that will give you a little bit of a chance to kind of get ready so that you can stamp with me. So our project today is a fall one. And we're going to be using the Old Barn set. So if you have this set, get it out for sure. We're going to be using this. And then the little pumpkins, which we've used, so many times. I absolutely love these little pumpkins. This little mini foliage set. So this little guy right here, we're going to be using this set. And then, as far as the rest of it goes, I'm using the foliage from the tree set. So this one here, if you don't have this one, you can use the foliage from the little mini foliage set. You can use that one. So it's this little guy right here. We're going to use that one. And then I'm just using the branch from this one. And I'll show these again too before I get started with the project. I'm probably going through this a little fast. And then this little guy here that, we always come back to these flowers and foliages. So I'm going to see if this will be helpful to you to do that beforehand, and that'll give you a chance to kind of pull these sets out, especially if you want to do this with me. I love the idea of you guys stamping with me, so I do try to actually kind of slow these tutorials down so that I'm not going too fast or talking too fast. So now that that's out of the way, I can say hi to all of you. So let me see where you all are. Okay, Sheila is on. Hello, Sheila. Kathy from Texas. Hello. Thanks for joining me. Lee Wilson, so happy you're here. Thank you guys so much. Good morning, Queenie. How funny. How funny. Thank you so much for that. That was Laura. She says, good morning, Queenie, while watching, or cleaning my kitchen while watching. Oh, Renee says she's cleaning her kitchen while watching. Way to multitask, Renee. Good job. Nicole, hello from Belgium. Wow, Nicole, thank you so much. I mean, what time is it there? Is it the middle of the night? Because I just feel like it is. Kathy, good morning from Illinois. Velda, good morning. Arlene, hello from St. Louis. Mary Ann, hello. Hello from Sweden. Hello, Jeanette. Good to see you. Diane Mason, hello. Sheila, Robin. Aw, you are the best. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. Kendra and I talk about this all the time. I probably say this too, but we talk about it all the time, how fun it is to be with our people and how we just love doing this and teaching you new things. And by the way, did you guys watch Kendra's tutorial last night? I told her, I think that was my favorite one that she's ever done. It was with the mushrooms and the little elf that was sleeping under the mushroom. If you haven't caught that tutorial, it's going to be archived on Facebook if it isn't already. You should go check that out because it is so cute. She just did a fabulous job and a lot of really good instruction in it. Hello, Jane. Who's from the Netherlands? Oh, Peter and Wendy. Hello from the Netherlands. Carolyn, hello. Carolyn is from Louisiana. And what is happening? Were you affected by that hurricane at all? We have been watching that from the West Coast and just our hearts go out to all of these people in the path of that horrible, horrible storm. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. Carolyn said she's up in the north corner, so hopefully she has escaped that, but oh my goodness, so many people out of power. Our prayers are with all of you, if any of you are on. Hello, Helen. Hello, Melanie. I can see you live here from France. Oh my goodness, you guys, this is just the best. Friends from all over the world. Like, how in the world does this happen? How is it that we can be friends and we can be on live together from every corner of the world? Just so cool. Ruth Ann Kendra's tutorial was the best. It was so cute. Even if you don't like whimsical stuff, there's so much good instruction in that. She had some really good teaching points, and I just thought it turned out so cute. So cute. So you'll have to check that out. Good morning. Oh, Leah must be on. She must be on. So those of you who watched Kendra's tutorial got a chance to meet Leah last night. So she was a pop-on guest. And so you got a chance to say hi to her and hear some information about her. She is an absolute godsend to us. We absolutely love her. She is so smart and efficient. We're grateful every day. We all say that over and over again. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for Leah. We just appreciate her. Jennifer, hello. Hello. Wow, you guys, this is so great. I just love this part so much. Hello, Jane. Good day. I love to hear from Jane. She is so awesome. Michelle, hello. Can't wait for my elves to arrive. I can't wait to see what you do with those, Michelle. Michelle is a fabulous artist. Amazing. Diane, also a fabulous artist. You guys, they are all part of the Art Impression stamp groups. So there are 2 of them now. So some of you may already be part of those groups, but if you love watercolor and need inspiration, wow, they are so great. The first one has been around for about 5 years now, and it's called the Art Impression Stamp Group. Carla put that together years ago, and they are almost at, are they almost at 3,000, I think. And then we have a new one, and it's called the Art Impressions Way. And so we have a new one now, and they are just starting out, and they've got a lot of people on there too already. So lots of watercolor inspiration, you guys, if you need to see and get some more ideas. Hello to all of you guys. Okay, well, Debbie, hello from Illinois. Hello from Cincy. Okay, Ohio. Love the tutorial of Kendra so much. I know, it was so cute. She is so talented. She is one of those people that has a equal mix of both brains. So she is as equally gifted left brain as she is right brain. And I think for a lot of years, the science brain and the art brain were fighting to see who would take over. So she's sort of resigned herself to the fact that she is both. And she can still do the art and still do the science. So she is awesome. Very thankful to have her. Okay, it's 7 in Belgium. Oh, wow. Okay, well, at least it's not the middle of the night, so that's good. Okay, you guys, let's get going with our project. So it is another fall project, and like I said, we're using the barn. We're going to change it up a little bit because the barn is from an old set, and so I like to pull those out every now and then, and pull sets out that I think you may have, and change it up a little bit. So I think that's really, really fun. So let me kind of take you through the process too. I'm going to switch my camera down around, and I made this project so many times. Usually it's about 2, sometimes I make it 3 times, but I don't even know how many times I made this project. I mean, part of the reason was that I just loved making it. Oh, one more thing that I used, I should tell you, I used the fence dies. So I don't know if you have these. If you don't have these, I'm going to show you another way to create a fence. I used this one right here. I used the simple one because I did dig these out. I haven't used these in a long time. I love them. There's just not enough time to go back to some of these older sets that are so great. And I love them so much. So I pulled this out, and we're going to do something with that fence die. So if you have that, you got a few minutes to just cut this out. So you cut this out of masking material. We have it on our website. It comes in a little package, and it's just called, I think it's just called, Leah, what's it called? I think it's from Inka Dinka Doo, maybe. Oh, brother, I just had a I just had a lapse of memory, but it is on our website, and it comes in a little packet with sheets of masking paper, and you pull the backside off, and then you have, it's kind of like Post-it tape, only it has a backside that you pull off, and then you stick it onto your watercolor paper. So you cut this fence out of that material, and I'll show you what it looks like too. Okay, so a quick glance through here, and okay, you can be so proud. Yes. Tina, yes, I'm very proud of her. She is so good. She did outdo herself. Good afternoon, Queen Bee. Hello, Mary. Okay, so I got to tell you this funny story about the Queen Bee, who I believe it was Kathy Akers. I think it was Kathy Akers who started this whole Queen Bee thing. And so she was messaging back and forth with Kendra, and she said, you could be the bumblebee. And Kendra said, no, I'll be the wannabe. And so that was just put everyone in hysterics, the wannabe. And then we came down, so then Kendra says, well, all of our people, our watercolor people, can be the believers, which I just feel like that's going to stick. I just love that so much. So anyway, how funny is that? We got such a big laugh out of that, especially the wannabe. I mean, Kendra is such a great teacher on her own. So, okay, you guys, are you ready to get started on this project? Do you have all your stuff out? I'll show you again. Once I get this turned over, I will show you again what we're going to be using so that you can get everything out. Okay, let me just move this over. It just always takes a minute, and it, you know, even if I set this up, it still just takes a minute to get it positioned exactly where it should be. And I want to make sure I'm not off the page or off the screen. Okay, so here is our project. Let me just go up a little bit here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So here is our project, and this is a little barn. Now you can see the difference here. So this is actually what it looks like, and what I did was I removed this line, and then I added another window, and I closed the doors. So these two little doors right here, I just closed them, and I think that's a really fun thing to do. I hadn't actually done that before, but it really changed the look of this barn. And you know me, I love versatility. I love to be able to do different things with what you have. So when you buy a set of stamps, you have lots of uses for it, and you can use it in different ways. And I think this really changed it up. And then putting these tin roofs on, which I just love lately. I love putting these tin roofs on. And I think that also changed up the basic image a lot. So I loved doing that. Now, let me take you through the process here, because like I said, I have done this so many times, but it was such a fun project. And here's the little fence that's in the background back here. So I started out, oh, and by the way, I had so much fun making it. I did a spring one or a summer one. So it's all basically the same. I mean, I brightened up the colors a little bit here so that you could see that bright, almost more of a, well, just a little brighter than the fall. And then I added some pink to it. But really, the only thing that's changed is what's in the foreground. And you could put anything in here. There's so many options now with florals and foliages and rocks and all kinds of things that you can put in the foreground. Little kids, animals. I picked something really, really simple here. And this foliage here is from the Pond set. So it's from the brand new release. So it's the Pond set that has the two little ducks in it, and you know, all the greenery and the cattails. This is the foliage from there. And then this lily, this is from the very first watercolor flower set. So I haven't used this in so long. So I just pulled that out and made this little summer one. But I thought it turned out so cute. And like I said, I made this so many times because I just had so much fun making it. So let me put this one aside. So this was my first attempt. So here's what I ended up with. And here's what we're going to do the tutorial on, is this one. So here was my first attempt, and I liked this, but I felt like I needed to put some boundaries here, and then I wanted to incorporate the pumpkins, especially since I was using this fence, and I wanted to, I didn't want the fence to just end here, but I did like the colors. And so I thought, okay, and you can see the doors are open in this one. So I kind of went from there and I made this one. And you know, when I stamped this, I immediately knew that this was too dark. But do you see the difference here between this one and this one? This is why we stamp it off. This is why, because these lines here brings this barn forward. They're too dark, and we want to set it back into the background. And that's why we stamp it off, because we want it to be very subtle. We don't want any huge outlines on these structures. We don't want anything that's actually outlined in the background. And you know, this is just too dark. And I got all this part in, and then I stamped the barn back here, and I knew it, but I thought, oh, maybe I can fix it. And I was not happy with it at all. And it's just because I stamped it too dark, and I knew that. And this is actually a good object lesson for you as to why we do that. Because this one to me looks so much better. Looks so much better than this one. So then from here, I went on to here and I added a different color. Now here I closed the door in and I left this one open, and I added another color kind of by accident, and I really wasn't happy with it. I like the barn and everything. I like these guys. I didn't really like the blue pumpkin in the front, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to the orange pumpkins. So then I got to here, and I like this one fine. I like the roof and everything. I closed the door up here, closed the door down here. I added the extra windows in, which I love. I did the trees and the orange, and then I changed the blue back out, you know, to this really warm blue. But I thought it would be really cute to open the fence and have a little pathway through here. So that's what. So I went from this one to this one. And you know what? If I had another day, I probably would do another 2 or 3 revisions of it. But you know what? That's what's so fun about these. And you know, they're still fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with this one. It's totally fine. It's just that, you know, I look at it, and I don't know if you guys do this, but I look at them and I think, oh, you know what? Next time, maybe I would do this instead, or maybe I would choose this color instead, or maybe I would, you know, add this floral instead, or move that tree. And you can see here on this one, I took this tree out and I put this background in, which I really think takes away some of the clutter. I felt like this was just too much the same here, and you couldn't really tell that the tree was in the background, and I felt like this was too cluttery. So I put this background in, which I like much better. So you know what? It's a process for all of us. You know, we go through these things and we redo them and we find something that we really like, and that's called growth. It really is. And you're never too experienced to grow. And I certainly do. Every time I do a project, I learn something new. And then, you know, when I learn something new, then my goal is to teach it to you and find a simple way to teach it so that you can do it too. Because you know what, you guys, you are all such amazing artists, even if you think you aren't, and even if somebody told you back in 2nd grade that you should not be in an art class, that is not true, and that was a lie. And you should be in an art class, and you can do this technique, and it's so fun. It's a few little rules, but you can do it. So here's our barn, and you can see it looks different. And closing the door, I just love that. I love closing those doors. I think that adds another dimension to it. So we're using this barn from the old barn set. The 2 pumpkins, so we're using these. And then in the foliage set, I used some grasses in here. Now that's totally optional. You don't necessarily have to do that, but you can. And it's just because I created a little path here. So the little tiny grass. And then I use this vine here. I just put, you know, some greenery in between these little pumpkins. So I use this one. And then from the large tree set, I am such a fan of these little leaves now. The small one that goes in the background and the larger one more for the foreground or for a bigger tree. They work great, and they work great for florals, and they work great for leaves back in the background. So I am using this one on the flowers that are in the foreground. And then in this set, I'm using one of the trees. Now you can use either one. I think I'm using this one. And we're building these taller trees. So you can see how small these are. You can build these trees from this little branch here. So we're going to do that. We're going to use this little guy back here in the background, and then we're using the foliage right here. Okay, so let me tell you, if you don't have the fence dies, so here's the one that I'm using, and here's what they look like when they're cut out. So you cut them out. This is a peel off back, and it's sticky. So I cut 2 of these because you can see on the, let me pull my sample up here. You can see on here that this fence doesn't look like this. And, you know, all I did was I cut these little tabs off because I wanted it to start here. And then I cut another one, cut this little tab off, and I started the other one here. So you could absolutely continue the fence, you know, just like this, and, you know, make it really, really long, you know, however you want. So so I'm just going to take some scissors here. And this is just what I did. I just cut these off because I'm just using the fence by itself. So just like this. And let's just do it on here. I'm not sure how much of this one I'm going to use. But if you don't have the fence die, if you do not have this, and you want to create this little fence, use your Post-it tape, just like this, and cut some strips. Now this is very easy to do. You can do it. They're all about the same size, and I would say they are probably maybe a 1/4 of an inch. Let's just measure this and see. Yeah, about a 1/4 of an inch. Maybe just 1, 2, 3, 3/8. No, it's not a 1/4 of an inch. 3/8. It's about 3/8. And so not quite a 1/4 of an inch, but you could cut these strips and just lay them out on your paper. It's going to work the same way. And especially with this simple fence. Now these fences on here are a little more elaborate. So it would be harder to do that with these, but I picked this simple one right here. So it would be easy to do if you don't have this die set. But I would lay this out and I would just measure it out. You can lay it out on anything and measure it out and just cut that either with an X-Acto knife or with your scissors. You know, it comes right back off. And then you could lay it out, you know, on here, just like that. And you could create a simple little fence, you know, make your little posts and then create your fence. Okay? So, all that being said, let's get on to our project and create this little fun little barn. So the first thing we're going to do is, of course, get our watercolor paper. And this is the same size as the project that I did last time. I really, really like this size. I like the square. And it is a 3-inch, I believe. And you know what I used? I used this block. So I think this is a 3-inch. It is. It's a 3-inch. So if you have this 3-inch block of ours, you can just use it and just draw around, you know, with a pencil. Just trace around it, which is, you know, what I do. I do things the simplest way, the simplest and quickest way possible. So this is how I would do it. And then I would take my Post-it tape and then cover these areas so that I don't stamp over the top. So like this. And then over the side. And put this on here like this. And like this. And you can use these over and over again. So, you know, when I do these tutorials, I get clean ones out, but, you know, I have these all over the place. So these are old ones that I've used. I use them over and over again. So, you know, don't throw them away. They're great. They're absolutely great. So, you know, that it needs to be in your portfolio, your Post-it tape. And now this was the old ones. This is ones we used to carry on our website. Still have a bunch left on here. But this is what I have purchased now. I got this on Amazon. It's just Post-it tape. And it is 700 inches. So 19.4 yards. I mean, it's a lot on here. Look how much tape is on here. So it's really kind of a must-have. Okay, so I've got my tape on here. And I'll make sure that I'm in the center. Just feel like I'm off the screen. Okay, so now let's get going. So the first thing we're going to do is stamp the little pumpkins in here. And we're going to stamp those right along the bottom. And I also have some little masks cut out for these because we're going to cover these when we do the flowers and stuff in the background. So I've got some little, these little masks that I cut out. And I just stamped these on Post-it tape. So same tape I used before. And I'm going to stamp 5 little pumpkins down here along the bottom. So here they are. And, you know, you can use your positioner, but you can also just eyeball it too. You know, it's not, if they're not exactly perfect, it's okay. And I've got a piece of scrap paper, so I'm going to stamp them off. I don't want them too dark. So I'm going to start out with this one, and I'm going to stamp it off. So I get that dark line. See, I don't want that really dark line on here at all. And I'm just going to kind of stamp it in the corner like this one. And then I'll cover it. And then I'm going to stamp it again. And I think I can just huff on it and stamp it again. And then we'll just cover this one. And I'm stamping it right along that bottom line. Just right along the bottom line. So now let's change it up and do this little guy, this little chubby guy. And stamp this one off, and maybe we'll stamp here, this guy right in here. And see, it doesn't matter if we stamp over the top because we've got a mask on here, and it's going to protect it. So now let's get this one in here, and then let's go back to the tall one again. And, you know, turn these a little bit. You can see I'm turning them a little bit so that they look a little more interesting. So I think I'll just turn this one like that. Nails. There we go. Get this little guy covered. And then let's do one more of this one, kind of right in the corner. I just love pumpkins. I love pumpkins. I love doing harvest, little harvest themes. Did I cover that? I did. Okay, so there we go. We've got our little pumpkins and they are covered. So we will come back to them. And we're going to go through now and put our fence in. And we're going to, now I've already cut this. So I'm going to kind of think about where do I want to put this? And I think I kind of want to put it down here, and I'm going to drop it down a little bit. So I think right there is probably good for this one. And then this one can come over a little farther. I really don't want to make the door or the walkway right in the center. I want to kind of offset it a little bit. So I think right about like this is probably fine. So let's put this one on first. And I'm just going to peel this off. So I ran this through my my Big Shot with the sticky side up, so the white side up, and then I just peel the back off. And you just want to put this on here just straight. So just like this. And then this one. And this one can probably go right about here. This is good. Now these, you know, they want to lift a little bit because they're thin. So what I do is I put a piece of paper over the top, and then I just get a block and I just really push that down. And try to really push this down as much as possible so it doesn't lift off. And the reason it does too is because we're dealing with watercolor paper that's textured. So, and usually when I'm using these, I leave a heavy weight on it, you know, for a few hours, just so that it really, really sticks down. But it's not really a big deal. If it starts to come up a little bit, you just push it down again. So, and I'm just gonna actually put a little sticky tape on there and put one here too. There we go. See how it wants to lift up a little bit, but actually it's really not a problem. Okay, so let's get our flowers in, and we're going to start out with this this larger foliage here, and we're going to do our the light blue. So this is number 526, and I'm just going to stamp this kind of in this fence area, not in the pathway. And actually, what we should do is just take a pencil, and you know what? Let's put the barn in. I forgot to put the barn in. Let's do that because we need to see where the barn is going. And I've already got it stamped on my on my positioner so I can see exactly where it's going. So we're going to stamp this in 2 colors. Let me get my scratch paper here. Let's do this in order. So we're going to add some dark blue. So this is the 565. And we're going to ink this up first, the 565. And I'm leaving this, this line in the center off. So I'm not inking that. Because remember, we're changing this up a little bit. And then I'm going back over it now with the dark brown. And I'm going to stamp this off a couple of times because I really want this light in the background. I learned my lesson. Now see how dark that is? I learned my lesson and I don't want this too dark. So I'm going to put this in here just above the little, just above the fence and a little bit off to the side. See, I'm stamping it over the edge and I think that adds a little interest as opposed to stamping it like directly into the middle. So it's always okay to do that, to stamp it off just a little bit. And I think I got that straight. So I'm going to put my positioner back in here and then huff on it. And even still, after you've stamped it off, you don't want to press too hard. You just kind of have it on here lightly. So now we can see exactly where this is. And now we can just put our little path in and just put a little line here, just like that. And we can just come through like that. Okay? So now let's get our flowers in. Now we can see where the flowers are going. So let's just stamp this kind of all along here. You can go over the top of the fence a little bit. And then down in here, remember our pumpkins are all protected. So we don't have to worry about getting anything on them. And never panic at this stage, you guys. Everything always looks like a mess before it kind of comes together. So never panic at this point. Now, the thing that you want to do with this is you want to make sure that you're getting the color next to your little die because you want to be able to see that fence, the outline of the fence. So I'm just adding my water in here and just kind of softening these lines. And just come down here, you know, by these pumpkins. And I'm getting this color in here next to the die. And maybe just a little bit in here too. And you know, we can always come back in here and add more. Okay, so I'm going to get my this little foliage now, and I'm going to add some green in here. And I'm using this this kind of a moss green. It's number 228. It's just it's a really cool color. Let me show you what it looks like. Get my palette back over here. This is what it looks like. It's just a really, really nice green. And I'm going to put this in here in front of the barn. And I'm kind of angling it a little bit. So it kind of comes down towards the path. And then I'm just going to clean this off a little bit. I just have a wet paper towel, and I'm going to get a little orange in here behind it. Okay, so now we can add water to this. Just kind of blend it out a little bit. And just blend it in. And just go to that, the edge of the path. And by the way, you guys, I'll give this one away too. So if you would like to have it, just tell me in your comments that you would like to have it. And then I'm going to now take some of this green and just brush in a little bit of this, a little hill in the background so that we can put that other foliage back in here. So I'll just brush this in like that. Okay, and let's go ahead and put some of this path color in. Because you can see where this fence post is. If I took this away, in fact, if I lift this up, you'll see there's we can't see where that fence goes. So we want to make sure we get a little color in here also. And we're just going to brush in a little bit of this brown. Okay, starting to take shape here. This is just so fun to do. And it's just super relaxing. Okay, so we've got our florals in and everything. So let's go ahead and put our trees in the background. And we're going to do that with the little tree, this one right here. And I'm going to ink it in the dark brown. So this one right here. And I can stamp this a bunch of times. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, and keep moving my way up. So just like this. And then I'm going to stamp it coming across the barn too. You know, like just some vines growing, kind of growing up in front of this barn. And then let's just do some here too. You just kind of just tap it in. You can make these trees pretty big. So just like that. Now, before you add any water to that, we're going to add the foliage. And we're going to do the orange first. And this is the small one now. So we use the larger one in the front, but we're going to use the smaller one now in the back. And this orange is the 933. I just really, really love this orange. And so we can just stamp this in here a few times. You can, you know, make this tree as big as you want. And this little foliage goes both directions. And I'm going to add some in here. And I did this before I colored the barn because I want to, I don't want to muddy this too much. And it's going to take up a lot of space on the barn. So I think it's easier to color the barn in after we get this in. Okay, so we've got our little trees in. And then let's add just a little bit of red. And the red is the, it's 856, but honestly, or 850, this is 855, or 856, excuse me, then 885. It really doesn't matter what red you're using. It really, really doesn't. Just, you know, get a red. The reds are pretty dark, so you can just tap it in here a few times. Okay, so now that we've got that in, now we can start adding the water to it. And dip your brush and just pinch it off. And you know, when you're doing the trees, it's okay to get a little more water than normal. You know, we're usually very careful about how much water we use, but you know, when you're blending the trees together and you're seeing these leaves kind of, you know, go together and also into the trunk of the tree, pulling some of that brown out. It's okay to have a lot of water on here, more than normal. It just gives you such a beautiful effect. And you can see now with the red how that's really, it's just a really rich, adding a really rich color. And you don't need a lot of it. Don't overdo it with the red. Okay, so let's put this little green in the background now. Let's get that in. And I'm just going to use the same green, so the same mossy green. And just kind of put this in back here. And then you just soften it. You can bring it all the way over here too. And then I'm just going to put a little, kind of a little boundary here underneath. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let's tackle our barn. This is the funnest part. And you know, I mean, I've done this barn so many times now that I absolutely love doing it. So the first thing we're going to do is draw a line down the center of this one. And now we've created some doors on here. And we've closed this window. Now on this one, we're just going to make a little cross here with a pencil. You know, don't stress out about this kind of thing. You know, this is so simple to do that, you know, if you're, you know, your cross isn't exactly even, like nobody cares about that. No one cares about that. Okay, so we're going to pull the color out of the lines a little bit now. Under here and under here. Under here. Okay, so that's a good start. That's a really good start. So let's go in now and really darken the windows. And I'm going to add another window up in here. And it's okay that it's kind of over these leaves. That's all right. That's totally fine because it's going to be dark. And we're going to use the twin tone. So this is the dark brown twin tone. And I'm just putting this little detail in here. Just little tiny squares. You know, these windows are tiny, and when the windows are tiny, it makes the barn look big. If you have a big giant window in here, the barn is not going to look big. It's going to look small. So the key is to make your windows little. And let's do these little windows here. I mean, you could put whatever detail you want in here, but you just, you know, if you put a little bit in, it just changes everything. And let's make some little windows up in here too. They just doesn't have to be perfect. They don't all have to be equal. You're just giving the idea that there's a little vent up here. How cute? So cute. Now I'm adding a little brown on the bottom side of this because that's where the shadow would be. Okay, just like that. And we'll go through here and we'll erase these lines eventually. Okay, see how that's changed already? I just think that's so cute. So let's take some dark blue now, the 565, and put that on the palette and put some shadows in because this is where it really starts to look three-dimensional is when you get the shadow in. And this is just a dark blue. And I'm going to kind of brush it in over the tops of the windows. So I'm getting a little mix of color there. And then we've got a little bit over here. And then down under here. And let's take some of this warm brown. So this is the warm brown. This is a 947. And we're just going to put a little bit of this on the palette and brush some color into the door. Then there's absolutely no question that the door is closed. And that color, you know, from the twin tone, see that's coming out a little bit. So we're getting a little bit of that color to come out. And now we can come in with the shadow. And you know, the larger the shadow, the larger the overhang is. So we're creating this idea that there's a big overhang over the barn. You see what I mean? And it's going to go right over the top of those doors. This would be, you know, a large overhang here and here as well. Okay, you could also just put a little tiny, a very tiny line under these windows as well. That will give you the impression that there's a little sill underneath there. And then if you want to set that door back, you just put a shadow in here. Okay? This is such an easy thing to do, but it will set your door back into the opening here. And we'll just come back in with a little darker color too and add some dark color in there too. Okay, so let's go on and do the roof now. And I've got this red, but it's way too bright. So what I need to do is mix it, and I'm going to mix it with some of the 969. Now, depending on how much you mix with that, it will determine how bright your roof is. So remember the summer one, the summer sample, and how the roof was brighter. So see the difference in the roofs here. This one is much brighter. This one has much less brown in it way more red. This one has more brown. Okay, so it's almost like a brick red. So you can kind of play with that a little bit, you know, mix your color together, you know, brush it onto some watercolor paper and just see if that's the color that you like. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this and just kind of mix it together. And then I'm going to, because I want to do that metal roof, I'm going to brush it down. I'm just going to brush it down. And you know, if it's not all exactly the same color, that's a good thing too. Because you know, if you look at a roof, it's gonna have a lot of different colors on it. And just kind of do each section at a time, because where that roof kind of bends and breaks, that's where the light would catch. So you would see that white area, and that's what you're telling your eye. When you see these white lines, oh, that's where the light's coming down. That means the roof is bent. So they're all just little things. And you know, you don't have to really think about, you know, where the light is catching. You just have to remember to do everything in its own section. That's it. Don't cross a line. Don't cross any of these lines. Just do everything in its own section. Don't drag your brush over the lines. Okay, so now I'm going to go let that dry just for a second. I'm going to go a little darker. So that just means less water, a little less water. And then we're going to just add some detail. And I think it'd probably be easier for me just to turn this this direction. So then I can just put these lines in. And you know, they don't have to be perfect. They don't even have to be even. You're giving the idea, and you clearly get the idea. Oh, that's a metal roof. Got it. And that's an old barn with an old metal roof. Got it. So it's just the idea that that's what we're creating. So now I'm going to come back in here with my twin tone again. And I'm going to really get this dark in here in the corner. And you can kind of mirror this break here. So this break, and then this break, and then down here. And, you know, take your twin tone and just make a little squiggly line kind of at the bottom. Whoops, and I didn't get any red on that part of the roof, which this is also part of the roof. So let's get some red in there. And then if you darken, you know, some of these areas, you'll really get the impression that this is a little metal roof. And this barn is pretty big. So, you know, if it's something really tiny in the background, you can't get all these details in. You wouldn't see it. But with a barn like this one, which is part of the reason that I picked this, is because I love to be able to put all these details in. It's just so fun. Okay, I think that changed it up a ton, putting that little metal roof in. I think that just made such a difference. I do want to just go in here and make that extra little line in here and here. Now I'm going to darken this line down the center. So we can see those doors shut. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that needs to go. Oh, let's get some sky in. So I'm going to take that that dark blue. Whenever you're using red, I mean, just a warning, make sure you really, really rinse your brush out, because that red will stay in there. And you'll get a tint of red in the next thing that you're painting. So always be careful of the red and really rinse your brush out good. And I'm saying that because have I ever done that? 1,000,000 times. Just adding another little, the shadows, you know, really, really, really make a difference. Now here's another little thing that you can do. You see how this tree kind of comes across this barn? If you just kind of mirror that and just kind of follow along with it with a blue, you see how that just created a shadow there? It's, you know, it's just the little things. It really is that kind of change everything. Okay, that looks pretty good. We can also then just do a little, you know, shadow over here with these trees. Add a little shadow on there. So easy, nothing to it. Okay, so I think we're good on this. I think we're good on the fence that we can take this off. I think we've got all the color on here. So I think we can remove this and see our fence in the background. And we can take our little masks off the pumpkins. You know, keep these masks, you guys. I stick these things together and I keep them because, you know, then I don't have to cut new ones all the time. And you can use them over and over. Like this stuff stays sticky, but it's not terribly sticky that it won't come apart. So you know, I keep my masks and keep my tape. Okay, so what we want to do first with the fence, you can see that we can see the lines here, but it's very one-dimensional. So we need to add a shadow. A shadow will just change everything. And that would be blue. So the dark blue. You can add a little green in here too if you want to. And you want to go underneath to start. And you can always come back in here a little darker. It's always better to start out, you know, lighter because it's really hard to change. It's really hard to go lighter afterwards. So now the posts. And we're just going to add that shadow in here. Just like that. And you can see we got our little fence in here. Just so cute. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, let's go on to our pumpkins. And, you know, in my final one, I left two of them white. So the two little round chubby ones, I left them white. And the other ones are orange. And so I'm using that same orange again. This is my favorite orange, the 933. Remember, you know, when you're doing the pumpkins, that you must have a highlight on here. You don't have to, you know, overthink it too much, but you will have a highlight in the center and then probably one at the top because you also have a dome at the top. So it's okay to leave, you know, a little light, some light areas, you know, on the top. You're always going to be happier, you know, if you do it that way anyway. And then let that dry a little bit and then just come back in with some darker color. And the more, you know, color variation, the better because it's going to look more realistic if you get that dark, some of those darks and lights in there. And you know, you can see I'm not worried about this too much. Now I'm going to take my twin tone and I'm going to darken these little stems. And actually, I should probably just pull the water out a little bit first. And you can kind of see the lines in here, and that's really what you want to do is you want to kind of follow those lines on these pumpkins and make these little stems really dark. Just really dark, and that will just offset everything. It will just make everything kind of pop out. See how this one kind of comes forward? That means it's going to be dark underneath. I love how it looks when you get that dark color in here, which is part of the reason that I love doing these pumpkins, and I like jack-o'-lantern faces. I also love that. So dark, dark, dark. And you can change this up too. You know, you can make some of these a little smaller if, you know, and that will change the look of your pumpkin. And they kind of come forward. You see how that this one here has this kind of dip in the center? You know, you want to kind of follow that. See how that just really, that just pops everything out so much. Now I'm going to, on these white ones, I'm going to pull some of this color out of the lines because, you know, even if they're white, they're not uncolored and they're going to have a bit of a brown tone and maybe a little green. So we could take some of this green actually and just add a little green to it. And again, see the center is the lightest. You know, and the top, the center and the top. That means the bottom, you know, and the sides are going to be the darkest. And just, you know, just brush that color in. Don't worry about it too much. Let's get a little bit. You know, the biggest thing is that you leave those white spaces. Honestly, that's the thing to worry about the most. Not, you know, how exactly you get your color on here. Like that's not a big thing. And I'm going to go back in here now again, another pass with the orange, you know, and really get this dark. And then I'm going to add some red to it too. So I'm going to take some of this red and I'm going to put a little of this in here because I really want this color to be dark and vibrant. And I've got a really good mix now of color. So I've got the light lights and I've got the dark darks. And that's going to make my, my little pumpkins look round. Okay, so now let's put some of these leaves in. So these right here, we're going to add some of these. And I think I'm going to use this this color, the number 27. It's kind of an olive green. And I'm just going to stamp these in here just a little bit. Kind of, you know, more into where the light areas are. Put some down in here. And do a few and then just kind of look at it and see if you want to add any more. So you can see I kind of stamped, you know, more over where the white part of the fence was so that you could see it. Because once it gets down in the blue, it's a little hard to see it. And then let's just take some of this green and put a little bit of this in here. And actually, I think I'll take the bullet point. So this is the 228. This is that kind of that mossy green. And I'm going to really darken this area in here. Again, that's what really pops things out is when you can get areas that are really, really dark. Okay, I think this looks pretty good. And I never did use the little grass. I really don't think I need it here. I've got this, I think I will just make this little path a little darker towards the door, and then just kind of leave it light here and just leave it really subtle. Let's just add a little decorative thing here. You know, they've got these little, you know, these little things that, little vines. Huh. Totally up to you if you want to do that. Okay, so let's look at everything and just see if there's anything else that we need to add any detail to. I like how this barn looks. I like how the door is. I've got good shadow under here and good dark areas in there. Okay, are you guys ready to see the reveal? So let's take our tape off. And I hope you guys give this a try. You know, I don't know how many of you have this barn, but even if you don't have this barn, you could use any structure in the back. And really, you know, it's just a matter of bringing things forward. So we've got our foreground, we've got our middle, and then we've got our background. You know, you can put your trees and whatever you know, in the background. So you can really, really change this up. Now I'm going to erase my lines. Always make sure that everything's dry. Again, I speak from experience on that. Have done that a lot. Just start erasing because, you know, I'm just so impatient. I want to see what it looks like and then just smear it. Thank goodness I have my my sand eraser now because, wow, do I ever use that a lot. In fact, when I was making this one, I forgot to put my masking tape down and stamp this barn clear over the edge. And then I had to erase that line. But see, you guys can't even see it. Just works great. Okay, how cute is that? I think that turned out really good. Sign and date, of course. There we go. And I hope you guys will give this one a try. It was so fun. Like I said, I did it so many times and I had fun doing it again. It was just really, really fun. Don't forget the things that are really, really important, the shadows. You know, the shadows and the highlights. That is the biggest thing. That will turn your work from a coloring page into a watercolor painting. That is the thing that will make the most difference in your art, is taking something that is going to look flat and making it three-dimensional. And we do that with shadows and highlights. It's just as simple as that. And it could be really, really simple by just adding a blue line. And you can see how that changed the fence and made the fence more three-dimensional just by putting that shadow in. So you don't really have to even think about, you know, where the light's coming from. You just have to put a blue line in. Just think of it that way and just keep it as simple as you can. Okay, I'm going to flip my camera around so that I can say goodbye to all of you. Okay, there you guys are. Does anybody have any questions just off the bat that you can think of about this process? I'm kind of scrolling through here to see if I missed anything. Did you guys like that project? What do you think about more fall? I mean, I know we're coming up on Christmas, but you know, fall is just so fun to do. Would you want to do another week of fall, or do you want to move into some Christmas? So let me know your comments on that. I do really, really want to do things that you are interested in, that you want to make, and things that you love. So Miriam, thank you. She says breathtaking. Thank you so much for your teaching. What were the stamps used? Okay, let me show you again on those. So I used the mini barn set. So this is the main one here. Now you could use that tree too, absolutely, in this set. You could use that tree, but that's the barn that we used. And then we used this little mini foliage set. So this one right here, and we used this little the little foliage in the background. We used the tree, and we used the leaves right here. So we used that one. And then really just the pumpkins, just the little pumpkins from the veggie set, and then the fence die set. So check that out. If you don't have the fence die set, try that with your masking tape because it will also work really well. I love fall. One more week of fall. Okay, Ruth Ann says fall. It hasn't started yet. Okay, I love it. I love fall. Let's do another fall. And you guys, I think I could do a really cute one. Mixed fall and Christmas. Yes, I am going to be doing Christmas. I'm going to be doing a lot of Christmas. I've got so many things to use now, you guys. I mean, it's really, you know, now when I go to pick up flowers and foliages, now what I do is try to pick things that I haven't used in a really long time and try to bring those back because, you know, I want to make sure that I incorporate everything. I mean, that's the whole point of this, is that you're using it as a collection. So every time you buy something, you're going to be able to use it with what you have already. Okay, fall. Fall it is, you guys. Fall has won out. So we're going to do another fall tutorial next time. I think Kendra also has another fall tutorial in her Back to Basics. So if you are a beginner, just, you know, start out simple. Check out Back to Basics with Kendra. She's on every Tuesday, 5 o'clock Pacific time. And then I am on every Wednesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. So you can watch both of us, check out the YouTube tutorials, you know, check out all of these tutorials will stay archived on Facebook. And make sure you comment if you would like to have today's project. We'll pick a winner. Leah does that, and we will give that away. Okay, Margot just joined. I'll watch the replay. Oh, good, Margot. I hope you do, and I hope you will give this a try. It's so fun. Debbie, I love that you're using some of the older stamps. Yes, the older stamps are great. They really are. And then when I got these dies out, these fence dies, I'm like, why haven't I used these in so long? They're so much fun. They really are. But it's so hard to get back to these old things, but I'm going to, you guys. I will try to bring in some things from the older sets, because just like the barn, we can switch it up and you wouldn't even recognize it. You know, it's so fun. Check out the stamp groups, you guys. The Art Impressions stamp group on Facebook, and then the Art Impressions Way also on Facebook. So you will get lots of inspiration from those two groups too. They are both like so encouraging and so just kind to each other. You know, they help each other, they encourage each other, they give each other tips, they share videos and tip sheets, and you guys, it's just amazing. I am overwhelmed and I am amazed at the talent on these groups. So you'll have to check them out, join them both. Okay, so throwback on Tuesday. Yes, next Tuesday is the throwback. So you will want to tune in on that for sure. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. We wait to give the sample away for a couple of days so that, you know, people who haven't had a chance to watch live will get a chance to win that. And I will see you guys all back next week with a fall project. And I'll try to change it up and do something totally different. So thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, my friends. I love Watercolor Wednesdays, and I love being with all of you. So I will see you back again next week.